Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be adding to your holiday hangover by talking about WoW, because a major Azerite rework is coming, a gameplay redesign of the open world is coming, a major villain, basically a classic WoW villain like Arthas Irrelitant, is going to be coming. So today I'm going to be talking about 8.2 and how it could feel like more of an expansion than Battle for Azeroth, which itself amazingly managed to feel more like a contraction. Which was a little bit odd. Now, yeah, it's been a really rough spot for World of Warcraft. Warlords of Draenor was a bit of a bust because no matter how much you actually wanted to play it, there just wasn't enough content there. But with BfA,
I don't think a lot
it
of
seems
people
like
wanted
their
to.
rigidly planned progression and their assumptions about player behavior, they instead led to an expansion that was more niche than Legion, meaning that there absolutely is an audience who will play and enjoy BfA, but that audience is maybe not as broad as it used to be. And that's just made, left many people a bit confused about how things have went. Now, the whole thing's rather sad, but 8.2 does seem to have some good ideas behind it. Now, look, I'm in the funny place, half the time I'm called a Blizzard shill, half the time I'm a frothing YouTube hater gamer.
That's the problem, dude, is like if you ever give feedback about anything, you're either a shill or a hater. There's nobody, like if constructive criticism, if something is constructive criticism to someone else, that is decided on if they like you or not. So if they like you, you're giving constructive criticism, and if they agree with you, and if they disagree with you, you're just being a hater. Okay, that's the only difference that there is, okay?
Person, I'm pretty sure this video is going to support both conclusions. So to be really clear, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the potential of 8.2 based on what Blizzard have talked about. Now, this patch is probably not going to be out until May, so yeah, should you be subscribed if you don't like 8? To be really clear, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the potential of 8.2 based on what Blizzard have talked about. Now, this patch is probably not going to be out until May.
Oh my god. Wow.
So, yeah, should you be subscribed if you don't like 8.1 but think that this video sounds interesting? No,
that's
amazing. 8.1 has been great for that first camp of players who are enjoying WoW right now, but for those who feel like WoW is moving further away from what they want, the patch does little. Well, 8.2 could be properly exciting. Why do I say that? Well, I'm kind of ambivalent towards 8.1, but I'm pretty interested in 8.2, so today I'm going to go through the core new feeling things of 8.2, and we're going to talk about why they felt a bit worse when BfA launched as opposed, compared to Legion, and how 8.2 might be really making a pretty decent attempt at making those things better. So we're going to kick it off with Azerite, because this really is the big one. Azerite felt rubbish on launch. The theming and the visuals of the necklace, they kind of sucked. Powering up the neck didn't really feel that satisfying. With the Azerite gear, well, it came at the expense of interesting additions to our class, and it even managed to fall short of the new ability that Legion gave us right out of the gate. And this really did
What new ability did we get?
First impression when
we didn't get
the
shit.
Class gameplay just wasn't great. It kind of felt worse to play. It was a bit slower, and that slowness is expected, but it was kind of worse because there was little hope of it feeling better once you looked at the wider progression of the expansion. And then this was all punctuated by, how you were given the Azerite gear, because in Legion, you quickly farmed up and unlocked your 36 traits. That felt really good, and it was kind of satisfying because it was a reward that you knew was there, you completed it, you just did it. Well, with the Heart of Azeroth and the Azerite system, the requirements are an ever-shifting goalpost that kind of eggs you on a bit more each week.
That's the ever-shifting goalpost. Like that's the problem I think a lot of people have, right? And I think that's why so many people have quit, is because the goalposts keep getting moved, right? It's like, let's say you've got to get 100 points. You get 100 points, now you got to get 200. You get 200, now you need to get 400, okay? So the shifting goalposts are the problem. Obviously, if people had goals and you could just work towards those on your own time, it would be fine. But because they're moved artificially closer to you, it makes people feel like they're wasting their time by working towards them, because they know that if they just wait a little bit longer, there's going to be a shorter gap to close. It makes perfect sense. We can take it off sub mode. Just, what do you call it? Just time out the people that are spamming. It's not a big deal.
Such that you rarely get the satisfaction of just completing the task you want to complete. Now, there are many problems, including boring traits and the like, that just all came together to make it feel like a contraction pack from Legion, not an expansion pack. And just from the perspective of a Legion player, didn't really feel great in comparison to how the artifacts unlocked, along with how you could choose a few, legendaries. Now, neither of those systems were perfect, but I think they were kind of better than what we have. So,
I think anybody could agree with that.
And the lack of progression and the problems with Azerite, the moving goalposts, the lack of meaningful additions to classes. So how does patch 8.2 answer these questions? Well, in a recent Q&A, Ian said that Season 2 Azerite gear is the last version of the current style. What does that mean? Well, that means that in patch 8.2, Azerite gear will actually have all of its rings unlocked. There'll be no unlock requirements.
It's about fucking time. You know, the thing that should have been happening on release, they finally did that.
You can put it on, you can select all your traits. This allows the Azerite gear to feel a bit closer to the gameplay of the older tier sets from a mechanical perspective. You'll never have to re-unlock a trait again. Now, this goes a long way to sort of counter the anti-fun moving goalposts of the current system, and it really is very welcome, especially because it's an addition to the Titan Residuum system. Now, I know that funneling
I like this. This is good. Yeah, this is actually good.
Is a bit of a problem, but for most people, I do think that Titan Residuum is a good system. Just imagine if the Legion Legendaries was a direct purchase from patch 7.1 onwards. It would have greatly improved the
Everybody would have liked Legion.
As an
like, I legitimately think that if they added in the Awakening Essence system on Legion release, people would have been happy with Legion for the most part. Like, a lot more people would have been. The Legendary system was the biggest point of contention, and all they had to do was add that system in on release, and most people would have been happy. Like, this is like, this is what's so weird, right? Is that Blizzard creates this unnecessary animosity whenever they could have just fixed the problem at the beginning, but they didn't. It's very frustrating.
Well, with Battle for Azeroth, it's it's going to get that, and then it's going to get the changes to Azerite in 8.2. That's going to make the Azerite gear a bit more exciting, I think. But what do you do with all your artifact power and the Heart of Azeroth? Well, that's essentially going to be something close to what I suggested a while back. Now, the Heart of Azeroth is going to have a trait tree. I assume it'll be rather like the Legion artifacts. You're going to progress through that as you gain artifact power, and I believe that this actually has the potential to add new abilities and mechanics. Ian, of course, was not specific, which is correct given the time frame that he's dealing with here, but that's something that could happen. So you could have a full set of Azerite gear with, all of the rings from 3 bits of gear. You'll have new major and minor traits from the Heart of Azeroth. And you know what? With that, you're actually approaching a Legion level of, stuff being active on your character without having to deal with legendary item RNG, which I think is really good.
It's good.
Then finally, I believe your Azerite trait skill with your HOA level. Now, I guess that does lead to some grinding concerns, but you know what? It just overall seems a lot better than the current system. On the whole, really a very positive change if they execute it right, and that's a change to the core of BfA. Like, the most common thing that I've heard is that content doesn't matter much if classes aren't really that fun to play and progression is frustrating.
That's about right.
Well, this probably is a big fix of those BfA specific issues, and I think it could be enough to really be a massive positive for 8.2, and it might actually feel like more of an expansion than 8.0 did from a class mechanic and progression perspective. Next up, we've got to talk about the world, because the world of Battle for Azeroth has been quite a sticking point. Well, the content that takes place in the world itself, especially Kulturas, is one of my favorites ever. Now, Legion introduced world quests. They felt fresh, but then they were pasted over to 7.2, and then to 7.3 without changes. At this stage, I think we were right back to the daily problem where they just didn't feel exciting. Now, Battle for Azeroth then wholesale copied them over, but it also killed off automated world quest group finding. Now,
that's not the problem. It wasn't the group finder that was making world quests too easy. It's the fact that in fucking BfA, the world quest, instead of killing 10 bears, you've got to kill 30. That's too many bears. Man, like, that's too many fucking bears. Like, you should just have to kill, maybe 10 or something like that. And then, maybe the bears don't respawn as fast. But it just takes fucking forever. You have to fill up a bar, and you do something that fills up the bar, and it gives you 2%. Does that necessarily fill you with confidence that, oh, wow, that means I have to do 50 of these fucking things to get it done so I can get 37 Azerite power for a necklace that I don't even care about? No, the problem is the world quests suck dick and they take too fucking long. The world quests in Legion, you go over in Legion, you go and you clear fucking everything. You do one pull, you clear the quest. You go, you fly somewhere else, you do one pull, you clear the quest. It's done. Stormheim world quests were fucking amazing. Then you had the BfA world quests, where it's basically a pig killing simulator in Drustvar, where you're just killing pigs constantly, and then you've got to go help the turtles into the water, and then there's this other weird thing that you can't can't really understand with throwing rocks at birds. Why the fuck would you throw rocks at birds? It doesn't even make sense in terms of the lore of the game. It's so fun. No, excuse me. No, you throw birds at birds. You literally take a bird and you throw it at like a rock or a dream catcher. Why does that happen? It's stupid, right? And like, why wouldn't you just throw like a rock? Like, why do you have to throw a bird? Like, if you see it up there, you just throw a rock. Why does it have to be a bird? It's ridiculous. That's the problem with the World Quest. It has nothing to do with the Group Finder add-on being removed.
Look, many players thought that WQGF was fun. I kind of take a different view. I think
it wasn't fun at all. The only thing that was fun about it is the fact that you're able to do stuff really fast. Joining up into a group and then being AFK while other people complete the content for you is it's fun in a way, right? Like, haha, I got them to do it for me and I didn't have to do anything. Like, that's fun for me. I love that. But it doesn't necessarily make good content. It's not fun that way. It's fun in the same way that LFR is fun. Whenever you go hit the boss once, you get killed, you go make yourself a sandwich, you come back, and you found out you got a Titan Forge piece of loot, and there's 3 people that are mad at you, and also 20 people that are begging for it. It's funny, but it's not necessarily fun.
That being a thing is just a travesty of design. It's so clearly overpowered. It's such an exploitation of the cross-realm mechanics of the game. The fact that it's default is mad. Now, I don't blame players at all, and I used it heavily myself. The reason why is that doing these world quests at regular speed was just mind-numbingly boring. It took ages. So players used World Quest Group Finder as a tool to get it done faster. MMOs are so progression-oriented that it's really easy to conflate.
Blizzard fixed the symptom and not the disease. The symptom was the World Quest Group Finder, and the disease was that World Quests were boring and unrewarding and not fun. Now, obviously, people are always going to take the easiest way out, but the fact that people designed an add-on and everybody downloaded this in order to deal with it is evidence of the fact that it's obviously more complicated than the fact that they're just simply using the add-on. Like, that you wouldn't have this many people using an add-on if it was easy to complete these and it just made more sense. You could just go in there and do it yourself. Like, for me in Legion, I never used the add-on because I could just do the quests myself and it was just as fast.
Fun based on progression with fun based on the quality of content. World Quest Group Finder and a shower of rewards felt overpowered and broken. That was satisfying to players, but that's because it was sidestepping content and showering you with rewards. Now contrast that to a game where it's all about actually feeling overpowered, like Diablo 3, where you're comically powerful, but that's embraced by the design of the game and it's a part of the fun. So by the end of Legion, people didn't want to manually do world quests, but they did enjoy blasting through them super quick and blasting through the invasion points in a big World Quest Group Finder Zerk. This worked because of the inherent satisfaction of just racing through character progression in an RPG. But the world quests weren't that thrilling. So, not to be a dick, but I think that the response to the BfA world quests kind of proves my point.
Yes.
Once the broken power, super powerful, like, skip was removed, they just kind of feel static and boring and not really that fun. Now, in doing this, I think that for many players, that meant that the world content of BfA didn't really feel...
I want to draw a parallel here. And I'm going to draw this parallel between Dark Souls and WoW. And like WoW, even like back in the days, but like Dark Souls, this is like a 1-to-1 ratio, right? This isn't like some like nostalgia. This is something I can do in Dark Souls right now. In Dark Souls, especially Dark Souls 1, because you can break the game more easily, it seems. Knowing a lot about the game and being able to advance your character and do different interesting things with your character gives you the ability to take on the world in a more unique way. And it allows you to use that knowledge and that time that you've spent playing the game. Like, let's say you get the Havel's armor and then you never get staggered again. That's fucking cool. And the way that you figure that out is by playing the game, looking things up, and learning. Now, with WoW, on the contrary, there are all these systems in WoW that throttle your character back from being able to break the game. You know, you can't pull too many mobs. You can't, kill the mobs too fast or the scaling is going to take effect. You can't kill the mobs too slow because the mobs have lower baseline health. And so everything is throttled and controlled to the point to where the player is never able to step outside of the world that they're in and assume mastery over it in the same way that a player can do in Dark Souls, especially Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 3, I haven't played it enough really to understand it well enough. But especially in Dark Souls 1, the player can step outside of the game and gain mastery over the game in so many different ways that WoW really doesn't give you access to anymore. And if you compare that to like these videos from like back in the day, like Frostmage, Vanilla WoW, AoE farming and stuff like that, that's something like, look, I mean, I'm not going to show this whole thing, right? But the whole thing is like doing something like this. I'm just going to mute the video. Okay, it's taking a while. Come on. Oh, come on. Like, really? I'm trying to just play one video for an example and you've got to load? How many long does it have to load? Okay, yeah, here we go. So you've got these mobs, right? And he's aggroing all of these mobs all at the same time, right? This is interesting and it breaks the game in a unique way that mages have access to. So whenever you're playing a mage, you're using these tools in order to gain a unique advantage that makes you special. And Dark Souls gives you that same opportunity. In WoW nowadays, you don't necessarily have that opportunity. And I think that's really what frustrates so many people and it makes the game boring, is because I think MMOs are partially derived from knowledge. And if you don't have like knowledge and you're not able to figure out, oh wow, I can do this really cool thing. And this is, I think, in Duskwood, or not Duskwood, Duskwall Marsh, this makes the game interesting for a lot of people. And I feel like WoW nowadays doesn't give you the option to do something really cool like this. And it's disappointing. I think that's the ultimate outcome, is it's just disappointing.
As much fun as the Legion stuff did. So how does patch 8.2 try to improve on this? Well, Blizzard talked about replayability at BlizzCon, very much saying that they're leaning into the best of many previous patches and locations, like the zone objectives of the TBC zones and the mechanics of the Timeless Isle. And it does seem like they understand, because they've said this, like they understand that just doing another zone full of world quests won't excite players. Now, what they choose to do is a mystery to us, and I've already done a full video about the potential that is there, especially given all of the, honestly, really cool NPC tech that they've developed for this expansion. I think for me, the core of this is that Blizzard seems to know that they need to step up their world content game for 8.2, and for me, that's extremely encouraging to see.
It's really important they do that too, is because Blizzard obviously has been trying to go out of their way to appeal to a like really, really casual audience with WoW nowadays. And if they appeal to that casual audience and then they just make content, like group content, they're not going to make those people happy. And I think that's really what the problem is that they're trying to appeal to like two different audiences and they're making nobody happy.
They haven't been able to top the Timeless Isles in years, even though that was quite small and a first attempt at that style of content.
Yeah.
I think what will really work is if Blizzard can just create systems that naturally encourage people to get together.
I want to read something somebody said in chat. It doesn't happen often, but occasionally I read something that's actually funny. Can 8.3 save BfA? Can 8.4 save BfA? Can 9.0 save WoW? That was from Nerzoths in chat. That's good, dude. That's just about right, isn't it? Unfortunately, it is.
As a group, perhaps, you'll have some big elite mob patrols that have nice AI. Maybe you'll have PvE capture points that in war mode are PvEVP. Some nice dynamic systems that, just have, they have player grouping happening naturally. I think that's the stuff that really makes an MMO feel sticky, really makes you want to log in and just find some people, knock out some content, and have some fun. If the world itself really feels like it's breathing, it's alive, it's got these dynamic systems that are based on what you and your friends do in the world.
That's what I think really is cool about the beginning of expansions, because like everybody's playing and you just go anywhere and you see people doing stuff and they're more willing to help. And that idea of being in an unknown world that you're exploring with other people is really what makes MMO special. And that's why at the beginning of every expansion, you're still able to recapture that feeling for a fleeting period of time. The problem is that period of time gets smaller every time.
I think that's just super, super enticing, and it just seems to me that 8.2 might be doing a bit more of that. Next, just a quick note on progression. Battle for Azeroth progression has been minorly shredded by the rewards and the mechanics, even though, as compared to Legion, like, the Titan Forging is, like, pretty reined in, and there are a few good things. Well, with 8.1, we have the greatly improved Azerite acquisition, and we have a more healthy cosmetic reward progression. So, for the most part, this actually means that 8.1 has set up 8.2 to really make good on those improvements, and properly leverage them to have the rewards be exciting. What I would say is that Blizzard should majorly look into professions, and maybe think about more varied artifact power rewards, such as from dungeons, raids, and PvP, maybe even in the various weekly chests.
It goes to show how unoriginal the idea is for Azerite power. If even the people that are making content and are supposed to be paid to be experts about the game, they just refer to it as artifact power because everybody knows what it really is.
It's fine for islands to be really strong, but I do feel that some players think that it's overbearingly powerful, especially if they are doing a lot of raiding or dungeoning, for hours per week, and they want to, not have to go and do another thing. Now, AP rewarded you no matter what you did in Legion, and I think that was a bit less the case in BfA, and they could maybe just change course a little bit on that. Next, I want to talk about the narrative, because, look, it's no secret that I've not really loved the BfA narrative, even though I was very excited for a faction war. There have been some strong moments, but I feel that in leaning so heavily into the big, shocking, trailer-worthy moments, they have focused so much on a small number of questionably written characters that they've essentially made no attempts to make the player feel
questionably written. I like that.
The war.
Bellular,
the diplomat. I just don't think that Blizzard have the writing chops to pull off what they've tried to do here. I think what Blizzard tends to do a lot better is things that are big and cheesy. It's stuff like Sargeras, the type of thing that's grand in concept and scale, so that the focus is less on creating really deep characters the players love, and it's more in creating an interesting scenario for the world in which players live. Now, that's the strength of an MMO. Tight character narratives are more the domain of like a cinematic single-player game, and I think Blizzard have been trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Well, they said in the Q&A that the Battle for Azeroth B plot will be more important in 8.2, and I
think that's kind of true, but I also feel like MMOs, like you can even look at WoW as an example, like there are tons of examples of like great characters and great writing in WoW, and characters that have seen a lot of development and are really interesting for the player base, like Arthas or Garrosh or something like that. A lot of people like those characters, so I don't necessarily feel like the only way that you can have like an interesting, cool character that is like multifaceted and unique and players can be engaged with, it can only be in a single player game. Even Sylvanas is a good example, right? All these characters are very appealing to people, and I think Blizzard, it's not that they're trying to put a round peg into a square hole, they're trying to put a small round peg into a big round hole, and the peg's not big enough. You need a bigger peg.
Take this as a good thing, because I think they can pull that one off a lot better. Big, spooky tentacle monsters that are going to corrupt the planet to usher in the end of the universe. That's big, it's dumb, it's fun, it's cheesy, but more importantly, it's focused on creating an engaging scenario for the world with characters acting as archetypes or concepts that players can identify and rally behind. In a way, it reminds me of a D&D or Warhammer sourcebook, where it's really more about spelling out the place for your adventures to take place in, rather than, having your character tag along to view the dramatization of a novel. Like, Uncharted 4 could do that because of their amazing execution, but Blizzard less so in an MMO. So, yeah, I think the Faction War was a bit of a slip-up. I think it was told kind of like a disconnected novel. I think there was never really a focus on telling the story through the worlds of mechanics, at least until, say, the assaults came in, and they just didn't really sell the feeling of you being a soldier in a day-to-day war. I think that with Rise of Ashara, you've got a classic villain, you've got a looming Lovecraftian threat, you've got the corruption of Azeroth.
That's true.
That just provides a more engaging backdrop for the gameplay, in my view. Now, it's probably not going to be packed with tearjerkers, but I think it might be a better stage for players to craft their own story. So there you go. That's really a lot of my thoughts.
Craft their own story?
You've got...
What do you mean, Bellular? I'm the High Lord that took Ashbringer from Tyrion Fordring, and I'm the leader of my class, and everybody has to do what I say, and I command everyone, and the game is all about me. What about my narrative? They told me what it is. Imagine telling... okay.
Big Azerite changes that, look, if they hold up to what Ian said in that Q&A, then there's a high chance that I could genuinely be totally okay with the system and be finding it quite enjoyable, especially when it is coming on top of the 8.1 changes. On the narrative, I think we're going into something that Blizzard could pull off a little bit better than what they're kind of doing right now. And on the world content, it was just so nice to hear Blizzard talk about those things. And it really did feel like they were speaking to some of my concerns when they talked about that in BlizzCon.
A lot of people care about that.
Things, Mechagon looks really fun. Big new dungeon, that'll be really fun as well. It actually seems that with Nazjatar and Mechagon, a new dungeon, a new raid, a bunch of other stuff, it does seem like there's a lot of content in this patch.
That could be great.
And I think what's maybe more important to me is that there's a lot of new content, but they seem to be saying that it's going to feel different in design. And that really is what the game needs. And that's why I think that 8.2 might actually feel more expansionary than Battle for Azeroth did, at least in a few regards. Obviously, Battle for Azeroth was an expansion in that it gave us 2 continents that are both awesome, like with Kulturas being just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, some problems. So that's my thoughts on 8.2. I'm actually quite
content.
Excited. I'm quite looking forward to it. I really want to hop onto the PTR. And I mean, I do go into it being sad about the state of the game, but being kind of hopeful. And, for me, the best possible outcome is that I go onto PTR and I get to share with all of you that there's really good stuff that's happening. That's absolutely my personal sort of, desire for 2019.
I think everybody has that desire.
So there you go. That's my thoughts on 8.2 and its potential. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this patch, and just what you think about, how things could turn.
Let's see. What do people think about the patch? Who was it? Who was it that had that great original funny comment that they put in chat that we gave them credit for, that he took off of the YouTube comments right here? Like, the guy, I mean, can you fucking believe this? How fucking shameless can you be? This guy's taking comments from a YouTube, this is insane. Wasn't that supposed to be 8.1? Lol. It's a shame that 8.0 didn't shave BfA. Too late. Calling it right now. 8.0 will be the equivalent of Draenor's 6.2. 8.2. No PvP vendors equals PvP is not fun, full stop. I'm sick of people saying fill in the blank will be what fixes everything. We need anime titties to save WoW. Face it, Bellular, it's over, man. Nothing can save the money-grabbing Activision these days, yeah. It's pretty sad how jaded people are. Like, oh no. Look at it. I'm not gonna watch it, obviously. I just look at that, man.
And I thought I'd make another. What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold. And I thought I'd make another video about, just my thoughts on something and just me and you talking about it. And today the subject is going to be
Man, like, that's actually crazy for me to go back. Yeah, the hair. Like, it was easier for me to pretend like I wasn't going bald then. It was fucking great. Look at that, dude. It's actually, like, so sad. It's like, will Warlords of Draenor save WoW? Can Legion? Oh, no. Oh no. Wow. Will BfA save WoW? No, because I knew the answer to that. I didn't even make a video about it. Like, I never did. I honestly, like, look at my video uploads. Like, I'll go back, okay? We'll look at Asmongold, the video, or the YouTube channel. Look, like, how many videos did I even make? I've literally made one video during BfA. And so I made two videos about BfA, and that was it. I didn't even care, man. Like, because I knew it was going to be fucking stupid, dude. Like, I mean, that's the truth. I just knew it was going to be fucking dumb. And, yeah, 911,000 views. That video is actually doing really well. Yeah, so basically, 3 videos about BfA, 2 of them about how much it sucked. And they're both, like, 20-minute, 30-minute videos of just, like, me, and I'm fucking...
I'm feeling pretty familiar, and they did it at the Legion pre...
I'm pretty fucking, like, I'm mad, right? That's all it is. I'm mad. Oh, and this was even before the game even came out. Like, so this wasn't even whenever BfA was out. I don't know, man. Like, because I used to make videos all the fucking time, and I got kind of tired of it because I ran out of content. Like, that's really the truth, is I ran out of content that I wanted to do. Like, like, if you go back and you look at, like, my earliest videos, right? Well, what the fuck was that? What did I just do? Okay, just a second. Sort by oldest first, right? All of my old videos, they're all, like, this is, like, right whenever I first started doing YouTube videos at all, they're all guides. Like, these, like, opinion videos and stuff, like, I care about that, but, like, these are all guides, like how to solo stuff, like how to do other stuff, like all of this stuff is guides. This is what I was always about. And yeah, my first video was a guide. Like, if I even go to my original YouTube channel, right, that I made whenever I was in fucking high school, like, you go back and you look at my old videos for, like, WoW, and a lot of them are guides. Let's see here. Elders of Cataclysm Achievement Guide. Big Dick Tanking with Asmongold. Not necessarily a guide there. Let's see here. Where's some more? Infernal Ambassadors Achievement Guide 7 years ago. Farming Frostweave 7 years ago. Guides. Look at all of these guides here, man. Like, and then you go all the way back to the bottom here. 9 years ago. These are me soloing different bosses, which I basically assumed were guides. 2,000 gold per hour in ZG. This is a guide that I made 9 years ago, man. 9 fucking years ago. October 7th, 2009. Like, and I put up some information there. I had, like, my character, like, game cam, everything about it, man. Zach the Paladin. No, that's my character. Like, I've had him for this long. And I would run around and aggro these mobs. Like, this is the original ZG. Watch it. Like, well, I had, like, this method of farming these guys, right? So basically, these mobs, they would do, like, this thing. And they would stun you. And so the way that I dealt with the stun is I used a free action potion, and that way they couldn't stun me, and I could AoE everything down and get 10 instances per hour. And I was making so much money from the Bijus, it would offset the money that I would spend for a free action potion each time. So I was actually, like, this video was really, really fucking good. Nobody had thought of this at this point. And these were the kinds of things that I like doing on my fucking YouTube channel, right? And like, you guys see, like, this is AoE farming. Like, this is exactly what I was fucking talking about before. Like, whenever I was talking about Dark Souls and, like, mastery over the fucking content, mastery over the fucking world, this is what you used to be able to do. I could combine the AoE abilities from a protection paladin with the free action potion, with being able to farm all these undead mobs, and I could do something fucking awesome. And this is what was special. This made the game, this made me feel special because I thought of this. It's not like Blizzard created a situation where I could do this. No, I thought of this interaction, and Blizzard actually nerfed reaction potions later on. But this was really cool. And these things that allow a player to gain mastery over the content is what makes it special. It's what makes it matter. And yeah, fun detected, exactly. I mean, like, they made the right decision getting rid of it, but it is kind of disappointing. I don't know, man. Excited about Mop? Yeah, there was a video. Don't they have that one, Excited About Mists of Pandaria? Where is it? Yeah, Excited About Mists of Pandaria.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Asmongold today.
2012, man. Like, yeah, look at that. Like, I remember this day very, very clearly because I woke up from a job interview, I think, and they didn't give it to me, and I actually was in a really good mood because I knew I wouldn't have a job for the expansion, and that way I wouldn't have to worry about anything getting in the way of playing the game. Like, I don't know, it's just crazy for me to go back and, like, look at these fucking videos, man. It's awesome. Actually, like, I really enjoy doing it. Like, 100%. I fucking love watching these old videos. They're hilarious. Sometimes I'll watch them and I'll just get depressed, though. Like, it's always living in attics. Well, yeah, I've been in the same room for a long time. I mean, there it is. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like all these guide videos and shit, like this is what I used to like to do, right? Is like doing these guide videos and shit. And now, like, it's not really as big of a thing because people don't care about guide videos. People don't want to get good at people don't want to be good at the game. It's like kind of a weird thing to say, but people don't want to be good at the game. They don't care.